Okay, great. Okay, good morning, everyone. So, Rosh Hashanah, and a few days, it's obviously what we're going to talk about, Rosh Hashanah. Okay, so I'm going to connect a little bit, in memory of Teri's just lost a sibling, and so she's sitting Shiva in Mishkafayim. Teri from Ashir. She sits over there. You know my face. So she's sitting Shiva now, and let's discuss a little bit about Shiva, Availut, and Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur for just a quick part. But not just to commemorate her brother and think about Teri, but also it's an interesting idea. So the halacha is she heard about the death yesterday on Monday. So she heard about the death on Monday. Yeah, discuss that. Yeah, we're in touch. So the burial's only on Tuesday. It's a big discussion. We're not going to get into it now. Whether she waits till they start Shiva, she's not going to America, to Houston. They're there already, and she's here, and she's not going to fly there. So does she just start Availut when she hears about it, or does she only start when they start over there? It's different opinions what to do. And Aninus is another question. Is she an onain from the death until burial or no? It's not based on Mutalafana. It's not in front of the, she's not in the town with the dead, and she has no connection with the burial. And it's not like they're coming to her Sachayim and she's arranging, so she's not involved at all. So these are two independent shilas. When is she an onain or not is number one. And when does she start Shiva? Two separate shilas. I personally tell people, even though there's no clear psak, each rabbi has his own psak. It's no one way. It's not like this clear Shulchan Aruch that everyone holds. There's different opinions, and they're both correct opinions. I personally say to start right away, and there's no anidas. I go like those opinions, which means Monday, yesterday she started. She did Kriya, she said Dayan MS, and she started Shiva Monday, a day earlier than her relatives. Okay, it's very interesting. And then so you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then all of a sudden, Rosh Hashanah comes. The Gemara has a discussion about the intersection between the Availut and Yamim Tovim. And one opinion says the three regalim, knock it out. So if it intersects, so my father's 14 years ago, passed away right after Yom Kippur. He had the great zechus of living through Yom Kippur, and mamish a few hours later, right after the day of Kippur, he passed away. And then I flew in and sat shiva with my siblings there, and then Sukkot knocked it out. So it was a short in shiva. So everyone agrees. Pesach, you also had Yontif knock it out. So same idea. So you have Pesach, Sukkot, Shavuos for sure, Yamim Tovim. Those days for sure knock out. The Mishnah in Moikatan has a discussion. What about Hashana Yom Yamim Noraim? Yamim Noraim is or. Norah is or. So though you will get Shoshim in a moment, those knock out the Availut, and that already is a discussion of the Mishnah. Different opinions. And we paskin, yes, they do. Why would they? Why wouldn't they? So on the one hand, maybe only the three regalim. Those are days of Bisamachta, Bechagech. It's a very happy time, the three regalim. Yeah, it's called Chatzila Shem Chatzila Chem. You're supposed to get up in the morning and daven and learn until Chatzos. In the afternoon, there's Lachem. Enjoy the family and relax and walk together. Just have great family bonding time and have a real simcha with friends. It's a simcha day. So that kind of day doesn't go together with Shiva, and that knocks out the Shiva. You don't do 3 days of Shiva, then continue. She has to be a continuum, and that's it. Once it's knocked out, it's knocked out. If you did a minute of Shiva, a day of Shiva, whatever you did, it's over. So that we understand. Hashana Yom Kippur, those are days of awe. That so it really Hashana Yom Kippur is very tricky. Exactly, it's a tricky time. Why? On the one hand, it's days of awe. We don't say Hallel. The Gemara says the Book of Judgment. Hope you can see Hallel like everything loosey goosey. No, it's not. These are days we don't say Hallel. It's a different kind of day. On the other hand, is there a mitzvah simchas yantif on Rosh Hashanah? Yes. What?
We say Shiva. We don't say Hallel. We say Shiva.
Shira, but Hallel, a special occasion, the Gemara says that we don't do. So there is some level of simcha on Rosh Hashanah. Having a meal is a suda, is a mitzvah. What? Same kiddush. Now Yom Kippur is a little tricky because you don't have any meals. So yes, but that's the person who's sick, and it's because nefesh, but others we don't. Even there, we have a subtle simcha of Yom Hadin, that we have the zechus of having Yom Kippur, zechus having Yom Hadin, and that zechus is a subtle simcha. And the question is, does even that subtle, less pronounced simcha, does that knock out what? Shiva and Shloshim. And we paskin, yes, it does. Some shittas in the Mishnah said, no, we paskin, it does. That's the psak. In Hilchos Rosh and Yom Kippur is brought down, and it's in Hilchos Yantiv is brought down, and Hashana.Start is brought down. It's a crossover in the Shulchan Aruch. In the Or Chaim section and the Or Day section is all mentioned. And that's what we hold. And that applies to Shiva. That applies to Shloshim. So we take Teri's case. Rosh Hashanah is going to knock out Shiva. Then she's going to have Saturday, which is Rosh Hashanah already. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, till Yom Kippur, she's in Shloshim. And then Yom Kippur knocks it out. And since it's a sibling, it's over. There's no Yud Beis Chodesh. So she's really going to have just a week or 2 weeks or so of Availut. That's the halach. Okay. But what's interesting for our purpose is not just to learn more about Teri's case, think about Teri and a brother of them, Shem Aliyah. Not only that, is also just to look at Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. It's a fascinating day. It's sort of a bit of like a hybrid. It's a very serious day. It's a somber day, but it is a day of simcha, just not that pronounced simcha on the other Yom Tov. And that's the machlokas in the Gemara. Does that more subtle level of simcha, is that enough to knock out the Shiva and the Shloshim, the Paskin? Yes. What about these days knocking out Yud Beis Chodesh? So we call that a klutz kasha in yeshiva. We ask a question where you realize it's not really a good question. If halacha was formulated that a Yom Tov knocks out Yud Beis Chodesh, then what? You would never have Yud Beis Chodesh. Yud Beis Chodesh means 12 months. Every 12 months, we always will have, during the 12 months, you're always going to have what? A Yom Tov. So, you could ask the same question. Right. Very interesting. Great question. On Shabbos, the primary mitzvah is the most kedusha. You have a mitzvah of kavod, the mitzvah of oneg. What is not pronounced at all? The mitzvah of simcha. Simcha is the contradictory point. Yontif, Eva Shani Yom Kippur, there's simcha. Shabbos is not a day of simcha. It's a day of oneg, of kavod, of learning. Wow,
yeah, but it's still
right. It's true, but if I'm not mistaken, in Hilchos, I don't have the Shulchan Aruch with me, not the section we need. In Hilchos Yantif, it says a mitzvah l'smoach. If I'm not mistaken, you open up Hilchos Yantif, Kuf Chav Tes Hilchos Yantif. Anyone wants to look over there? It says mitzvah l'smoach on wine and meat and have presents and jewelry and give the kids treats. And it's a bit of a joke. The treats back 2,000 years ago was that you give them roasted nuts. Can you imagine, well, guy, you're not going to believe you're good all week. I got a treat for you. Here's a nut. Now, anything less than a Ferrari, like, he's not going to look at you. It's a new generation. Anyways. That's true. That's true. You're right. But Lamaisa, it would be contradictory to have Yud Beis Chodesh and be knocked out. So it was never set up that way. So Shabbos is a day essentially of kedusha, of kavod and oneg. The focus is not simcha. If you look in Hilchos Shabbos, it talks about kavod and oneg. If I'm not mistaken, it does not focus. I don't know if it mentions the word lismoa. We have to check. But even if it does, it's not the focus, as opposed to Yom Tov it is. Okay, so that's a little bit about Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, the Yom and the Ra'im, and the Chagim, verse Shiva. Okay, now it doesn't mean that a person. So with Shabbos, just to finish off our little discussion, then another Rosh Hashanah point, just to finish off our discussion, doesn't mean on Shabbos. So Shabbos you don't have Simcha, so it's woven in that they integrated together. Shabbos and Shiva work together. So we have Shiva. It's one of the days of Shiva. And you'll say, wait, is the person really? So Teri is going to be knocked out before Shabbos. But if it was a Shabbos day, which most times we have Shabbos in the middle, Shiva's not knocked out then, is Shabbos one of the days of Shiva? And the answer is absolutely. The person is in Shiva on Shabbos. You just don't publicize it. You don't walk around with a ripped shirt, and you don't walk outside without shoes. So it's modified Shiva, but it's Shiva. I'll give an example. So a person loves learning Torah, and hopefully all of us, one of the most beautiful gifts that God gave us is Talmud Torah, learning Torah. He gave us the beautiful mind that could somehow understand his world. I don't know if we appreciate that enough. And we could tap into his Torah world, the science world, astronomy. It's amazing. I think it's an amazing thing. And I don't know if we appreciate this tiny mind that somehow appear into the universe. Even if it's just a drop of his Torah, we understand. It's more than a drop. Because we're doing Daf Yomi and Mishlei and Halach and Wow, what a gift. So person loves learning. And on Shabbos, he has his learning, he has Mishnah, he does his Mishlei, he has Chavrusa, and he's in Shiva now. Does he learn on Shiva on Shabbos? No. That's usher. It's usher. Can you get an Aliyah on Shabbos? No. That's learning. Aliyah's Kriyas HaTorah is Lima Torah. Yes, he sits because that's public. And what happens? What happens if he's the only Kohen? Good. And by not calling him up, it's obvious. Oh, wait. Why'd we skip to Yisrael? Oh, because Mr. Cohen is in Shiva now. That's a public proclamation. Give him the Aliyah. Yeah, which is a little tricky because then walking out itself might be an act of Availut. You hear what I'm saying? And let's say the rabbi gets the Aliyah every Shabbos Shlishi. And by not giving it to him, it's obvious that it's Shiva. So give him the Aliyah. As a matter of good point. So the Shulchan Aruch brings down Rabbeinu Tam used to get every Shlishi. The Gabbai did not call him up when it was his Shabbos Shiva, and he walked up anyway. I get him the Aliyah. And he explained to the Kehillah, explained with his covered, as you could imagine. It's just, I get it every Shabbos. By not getting it, it's obvious that that's of it. So that's a little taste of the world of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Yom Tovim, and Shabbos, Shiva, Shloshim, and how that world intersects. Yes? Yeah. So usually, so if it's on, normally it doesn't do it. Whether you have Berachas Kohanim in the house of the Shiva is an interesting question, because the really only problem is for the Kohen himself. Why? It's not Talmud Torah. He's giving a bracha. Why can't he says brachos during the time of Shiva? Right? He could wish them, a person comes to Menachem him. He could wish him, Atzlacha. He could give out brachos. So why can't he give out bracha Berachas Kohanim? Not because of Talmud Torah, not because of Talmud Torah, but because you bless the Jewish people with love, and also you have to be in a state of simcha. As a matter of fact, one of the most challenging minhagim in the States, as far as I'm concerned, and all of Chutzlaretz, people that come from New York think that it's Israel and the States. I have to remind myself, there's other parts of the world too, not just the States. So people come from Chutzlaretz. To me, one of the most challenging minhagim is not to get the daily bracha from the Kohen. I love brachos. And when people have a story that there's one big misnagdish Rav, they say the name of Soloveitchik, someone asked him for a bracha, and he said, "What are you, an apple?" I don't like that story, and I assume it's not true. I assume it's not true. The Gemara says that even a bracha from a hedyot, from a simple person, you take seriously. And a bracha from someone who's a ben Torah, a Talmid Chacham, a Kohen who's so good, gets up every morning, takes off his shoes in the winter and goes and blesses, and what was his nefesh? I want his bracha, especially when this bracha is directed from whom? You bless, and I will back you up. I want that bracha. So in Chutz La'aretz, for the Ashkenazic world not to have it, and the reason they don't have it is why? Because the Ramah had a novel idea that the only blessed when you're in a state of simcha. Day to day, you're working hard and you're just trying to get by and survive, and even Shabbos, you're not in a great state. The only time you're in the simchatic state is a few times a year. When? On Yantiv. And Musaf, when you're about to leave Shul. That's what he says. So Shachris, you don't even do it. So to me, I feel gypped. That's the Ramah. He's the holy of holies, the Ramah, and you don't play around with the Ramah. And that's it. That's the meaning in Chutz La'aretz. But it's another reason to make Aliyah, as far as I'm concerned, in addition to all the million reasons. Another reason, get the daily brachas of a Kohen. So that's the reason, because of Simcha, and that's why they don't do the Chutz La'aretz. Baruch Hashem here, some want to say here in Israel, you always define a Simcha. I don't think that's the Pshat. I think the Pshat is here we follow, we came over the last few hundred years. Who was already here first? Rav Yosef Karo, who didn't have the idea that you have to be in this elevated state of Simcha. No, you just can't be an Avel. And then you can't do Bechas Kohanim. But Stam person, we assume, he's enough state of Simcha that he can do it. I don't think it's because Israel, I don't think it's a nice Tzionit Pshat. I don't think that's the Pshat. The simple Pshat is we just don't hold by that Ramah. Because the Ramah didn't say, oh, if you're in Israel, you do it. As a matter of fact, in Haifa, if you ever go to Haifa, you'll find towns, and you're waiting for Bechas Kohanim, and guess what? You're not going to hear it. Because those are people who came, Ashkenazi people that came, made Aliyah, and followed whose minhag? The Ramah, not the Bechas Kohanim. Sometimes you go to Haifa and Golan, they won't do it there. They follow the minhag there for whatever reason. Okay. That's over on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Shabbos, Shiva, Shloshim, and all of Eloi Nishmat, brother, Teri's brother. And to finish off with an idea, a quick idea on Rosh Hashanah. So we have a lot of shofar blowing on Sunday. We miss out on Shabbos, but we have on Sunday. And just quickly to know what's going on, you have Midoraisa, all you need is 10. Okay, all you need is 10. Tekiah, true, Tekiah, true, Tekiah, true, Tekiah. 9, not 10. 10. 9 is all you need. Okay? No, that's it, you're done. What happened was we don't know what the crying sound is. We know true is a crying sound. We don't know if it's like really strong. Is it like which is true, or is it the combination? And you work out all that, it will end up with 30. Maybe it should be 9, it should be 27, not 30. No, Shavarim true itself is considered 2 in the count. So that ends up with 30. You do 30, you cover your base, you're good to go. And once you do 30, you cover with the Raisa. The Rabbanan went ahead and said, we do another set, to confuse the Satan. The mystics are going to take it more literally. There's somebody confusing Satan. The more rationalists are going to say, no, the Satan, of course, is whom? Us. We're the Satan. We have to work on and understand this is not just another mitzvah like tefillin, like mezuzah. It's to work on tshuva. And the rationalist is going to take it to mean more. The Satan is your own internal vices. And we have a separate set, Yetzer Hara. But the Satan is the Yetzer Hara. Is that the simple pshat? I'm not so convinced, but the rationalists are going to learn that way. The mystics are going to learn that way. Being some kind of being called a Satan. Either way, I'm not pushing one or another, just to give you a quick overview. And then you do the other 30 to go ahead and what? Work on yourself. Remember, this mitzvah is a special mitzvah, not like any of the mitzvahs. This true is built into this to wake us up from our slumber. So we have another 30. Then the other 40 to get to 100. The minhag developed over the years because of sister's mother was crying 100 times. 101. So there's different opinions, but we do 100. And to remember her crying, Rav Soloveitchik says, I'm sorry to rush through this, but I got to finish up. Why are we commemorating sister's mother? Sister was an evil person in the book of Shoftim who destroyed us and attacked us. And he was in war, and she always waited by the windows, moms, to see how much blood was on her hand, how much gold he had. And she's waiting and waiting. Hey, he comes for dinner after killing all the Jews, comes home at 5:30, and he's a little bit late. Okay, maybe my watch is a little bit off, waits till 6 o'clock. Didn't come home. Okay, maybe he's killing more Jews today, getting more gold. Eventually, she realized he's gone, and she's crying. She cried 100 times. Rav says, "Why are we commemorating that?" And the Rav says, "Of course, she's a Russia. We're not looking to commemorate a Russia." But he says during that service of truth, you want to work on technical things. I did this. I mishma the other day. The other day I said in Lashon Hara about someone you work on. You have a whole scorecard of everything you're doing. Rosh Hashanah is not a scorecard yet. We don't go to the Al Chetz on Rosh Hashanah. It's a general wake up call where you looked at reality one way and now you realize it's a ton of bricks hit you like, oh my gosh. Let's see myself. Okay, I hope this is not a good example, but in theory, a person who's involved in CBOR, who's a principal of this school and that school and in a shul and giving shiurim all the time, it might be all nice, and that same public servant might be an absolute jerk, excuse the term, when he comes where? Home. And all of a sudden, the big tzaddik with all his hundreds of students, his own kids, he doesn't treat anywhere close. Well, they do something wrong. What's the mess? Why do you make such a mess for? You never talk so nice here. What a tzaddik. Can you please clean up the ball you left in the court? And then all of a sudden you get home, you're a terror. And forget about how the person treats his wife. These can happen, these things. You have each seaboard, sometimes it could be big eight Sahara there, okay, where the family has to feel number one and everyone else is number 2, 3, 4. And they have to feel that they're not that being, sacrificed for communal service. So every rabbi has to think, whoa, is my stress a little bit off? I have to read not this specific over here, that specific over here, okay? Or this other person, the way he is, work, he's a terror at work. Everyone, whatever, I never learned anything. I got so busy with all this, I don't learn. But that specific, it's like something hits you. My life is off in a big way. And that's what she saw. So I'm not trying to learn from her midos, but she had a wake-up call. She had this fantasy of her son being this way. Boom! Explosion. So Rosh Hashanah, we should be hit. It's something big. And then the next 10 days, you work on the details. Fascinating idea from Soloveitchik. And that's the explanation of from the 9 to 30 to 60 to 100. Okay. Believe that I have been terrible about putting the shiurim up. And I just don't have time. But believe I'll try to put this one up, especially as a memory of Teri's brother. I'll try to remember when I get home tonight to upload it. I still haven't figured out how to upload it from here, which is the problem. That would make it a lot easier to upload it on the phone to my channel. I can't. But either way, we'll try to do it. And there'll be Nishmato. Everyone should be well. And so Thursday, 10 o'clock. Parsha Shir.
Rabbi, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
So you might not be able to answer this now, but why, out of all the Roshim that there are and that were in our history, why